What would you actually change about airports? All I want are bathroom stalls that are designed to accommodate both a person and their carry-on bags. If the doors open inwards, the stall needs to be longer so that you can maneuver roll a bag in without hitting the toilet. If the doors open outwards, the stalls can be about the standard size, but the bathroom needs to be more spacious. Have heavy-duty hooks at waist height that can actually hold a backpack. Agreed. Nothing better than cramming all your into a bathroom stall and having to play Twister trying to get out. Also, enough bathroom stalls would be great. Always fun to stand in line behind 30 people when you're just trying to take a, especially when the toilets flush like a goddamn whirlpool and you're pressing yourself against the door to avoid the toilet water spray. Sleep pods to rent, so when I miss a flight and the next is tomorrow, I don't have to sleep on chairs, hoping my stuff doesn't get stolen. Some airports have those, like in Milan, although you have to book it in advance, which makes no sense. Yeah, they should take your card as a deposit when you enter one and then charge you when you exit for however much time you spent. I would go in one even if I wasn't tired, just to get away from the crowds. The cost of food in the food courts. Sydney and Melbourne Airport. I'm not paying $15 for a wrap or a fancy sandwich that's been sitting there all day, so it's always McDonald's or KFC or some mainstream fast food chain, because at least they keep their prices consistent, even if I don't feel like it. Get me a $10 Big Mac trio over a $14 panini that's been sitting in the fridge for 4 days and a $7 cup of grapes and cheese. Goddamn outrageous. I actually work in airport management, but more so on the technical, actual airfield side of things, so I've thought about this a bit. From the traveler side of things, I'd really love more options for people with dietary restrictions. So many of the airport restaurants are operated by some company like HMS Host or Hudson News, and they are terribly mediocre with high staff turnover and poor training, so they can't be trusted to deal with dietary concerns. And the convenience shops they have usually have no quick meal type thing that will accommodate dietary needs. Aside from that, I'm with most of you. Good Wi-Fi, enough seating, lots of outlets, etc. And airports are trending this way. It just takes time to adapt. They don't want the terminal constantly under construction to add more outlets, which could be a big project, or more bandwidth, or more seating, because the small planes are going away. So they have to wait for a large terminal or concourse refresh and do it all at once. In the UK, airports like Stansted and Heathrow make you walk a full freaking mile along this winding path through the middle of booze and perfume shops before getting anywhere remotely close to a flight gate. And what takes me is you can see the old gap in the wall that takes you right to the gate that they have filled in before you walk a mile to get to the other side of that exact wall. An AMP #X200B would love to put a hole in that wall. So frustrating if you need to run for your flight. Everyone ambles along through the winding path at a snail's pace, wheelie bags everywhere. Hate it. Have you ever had to walk to the furthest departure gate at Gatwick North Terminal? I felt like Frodo and Sam after that bloody journey. Have people stand the back from the baggage carousel until they see their bag. Oslo has a red line about a meter back, and people stand behind it. After experiencing that, I can't stand this anymore. And how hard is it to draw a line on the floor? Pretty sure Montreal had a line around the carousels too. People gave zero. They huddled around the carousel like they wanted to hump me. More seats, vending machines for cheaper snacks, and better Wi-Fi connections. Last year I went to Turkey on my own, 2 flights with a stop in Istanbul. I had promised everyone to send them a WhatsApp message in the airport. I arrived in Istanbul and there was not a single Wi-Fi hotspot in the airport. Not even Burger King and similar restaurants provided one. I asked the security people and they confirmed they just don't have free Wi-Fi there at all. How does that happen in a city this big with a big number of tourists visiting every year? That's nuts. If you ever got stuck there for a 10-hour delay or something, you'd end up spending a fortune on phone calls. I work in airports all the time. Just let me feel like a person. Give me a little more space, a little softer cushioning, an outlet for me and the person next to me. For a place where I'm often expected to exist for hours, let me stay in that space and comfort for those hours instead of scrounging for space, power, healthy food, and any amount of comfort. Airline lounges exist for this exact reason, and #X200B. It could be provided to everyone, but then you would have half the people complaining, why do my tickets have to pay for someone else's X, Y, Z? I don't need special comfy cushions or an outlet. I just want to get from A to B, so I only want to pay for that. More likely explanation is that by making airports uncomfortable, they can charge people for basic comfort. Airports and airlines deal with complaints constantly anyway. I would make food cheaper at the airport. In my experience, most airport restaurants serve relatively small portions for a high price. I am hungry when I travel, but the cost of my travel also means I can't buy as much. Some states, Oregon is one of them at least, have a law that airport food can't be more expensive than food sold elsewhere. It's awesome. PDX actually advertises their airport as a legitimate shopping option for people in town. Like, they are trying to get people to go to the airport for reasons completely unrelated to flying. More plugs, more and cheaper food options, and a quicker airport experience for people that fly a lot and are quick through all the controls and checks. That last part exists. It costs money, but it does exist. They started letting NOOBs who buy premium tickets into that line, and now it's also slow. Put a post office in TSA security so I can mail the stuff that's over the weight limit or that I forgot was in my carry-on. I'm a frequent traveler, but I forgot about my body spray and new bottle of liquid hair product in my carry-on once, so that was $50 in the garbage. I would have paid the $10 to ship it. There is a service for that at TPA. At Narita Airport, security found my Leatherman that I had forgotten was there. The nice security man asked if I had a friend I could give it to, but no. I asked him if there was a post office nearby, and he let me go mail my Leatherman to myself. Every large hub airport, especially those in areas notorious for weather interference, should be required to have stranded passenger areas with small but comfortable spots to lie down, and a store where you can buy real food, blankets, toothbrushes, phone chargers, etc. After hours. I've been stranded overnight in airports twice. Both times it was such a degrading, miserable experience. I felt like I was being punished. I saw the metal gates slide down over every restaurant and store in the airport right after I realized I was stuck there. There was nowhere to lie down except the floor, and it was freezing cold and I had no jacket or anything. 14 to 18 hours of just cold, sleep-deprived nothingness. I was talking to another stranded passenger at Chicago Midway, and he said people get stuck there, like us, all the time. Just because it's a water bottle doesn't mean it's a bomb. This is exactly something a person using water bottle bombs would say. There has got to be a way to better streamline the security line. Do I know how? No. But someone out there probably has a really good idea to make things go faster while having the same level of security. The whole process of arriving and actually getting to your gate needs an overhaul. One thing that would help is if every airport actually had the same guidelines and enforced them. I fly a good amount, and some airports you can leave your tablet in your bag, others you have to take it out. Some you can leave coats on, others you can't. Some want your backpack in a bin, other places don't. It's this kind of stuff that causes people to have to redo their items because they didn't set them up correctly the first time. Or if their stuff already went through the scanner, then their bag gets flagged and their stuff has to be searched. Yeah, I got treated like a criminal that time I forgot to take my laptop off my backpack flying out of JFK. Make the TSA follow all the recommendations of a non-partisan group of peer-approved security experts. Require airlines to only advertise all in ticket price, instead of separating out all the mandatory taxes and fees. That would do it, honestly. Massive improvement for everybody, minimal negative impact to anybody. And GT, require airlines to only advertise all in ticket price, instead of separating out all the mandatory taxes and fees. Spirit, but our entire business model. I love the out of Spirit. There's a great interview I heard with the CEO over there who I think was coming from Delta. I don't have the exact quote, but the gist of it was this: CEO, I spent decades trying to compete on quality, offering better options and better flight times and a better experience, and people book on Orbitz or Kayak or whatnot and the only thing they pay attention to is price. I decided people wanted to have access to an incredibly cheap option and so we give it to the Monsieur. Interviewer, so you're the Walmart to other airlines target. CEO, we're the dollar store. Spirit exists because people want to fly as cheaply as possible, and they make it happen. You can fly with no bags at all. If you fly with no bags on Delta, you're still paying for the price of a carry-on included in your ticket, not Spirit. Spirit breaks it all down. All that said, I hate flying Spirit. It's a miserable experience, but I'm glad it exists because I think it's good for everyone to see what the bare bones experience is like. I'm now paying a lot more attention to what airlines I choose to fly and what their amenities are when I book flights. Some lockers would be nice. If I have to wait 3 hours for a flight, it would be a godsend to not have to lug a bag around. Now I use a backpack as a carry-on, but still, your back gets sweaty after a while. If there were lockers I could just throw that in there and come back when I'm ready. I understand there are probably security concerns, but there has to be a way. They used to have them but they're afraid people will plant bombs in the Monsieur. If you do it past security your stuff would have been already searched, right? I get the fear though. Sucks. More cheap, healthy food options that are open 24/7 for those wee-hour flights. Lower the price of food and beverages at airport eateries. They're too expensive and the quality is often mediocre. Granted I don't fly much but the last time I had to, I would have been happy if they had raised the quality of the food to mediocre. Definitely the way we board. The back groups should board first to keep the flow of boarding going. Also, there are many videos online of how to make this process even more efficient, and I think we should implement it. I absolutely hate how slowly people get in and off a plane. I agree on boarding the back first, or larger, more comfortable seating. Stop charging for use of electricity. Don't charge me $54 for 2 sandwiches with drinks. I think all airports should have a good observation area where you can hang out and watch the planes come and go while you wait for your next flight. Just do everything that the Singapore airport does and voila, perfect.